Welcome to this week's Tiny Dot concert. I am here with My Name is Blue Sky. Hello, Blue?
How are you doing?
Blue Sky, rather.
Uh, Look, everybody else gets to it. So,
It's so good to have you here today. You are a Dorchester resident, correct?
yes, I live in Roxbury
Oh, okay.
currently.
Near Dorchester, close enough.
Yes, yes,
You've played Dorch Fest for the last 4 years, I believe.
I have.
And it's awesome to have you in the studio. I want to ask you about one of the ways that you promote yourself is as an autistic musician.
Mm-hmm.
You're very much embraced that part of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about how having the autistic side of you has helped with you creatively?
I think a lot of things have helped me more embrace the autism.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I grew up, loving rock music, grunge, punk, metal, you name it.
Okay.
Indie rock, sure. And there's always a sense of rebellion in the music. There's always a sense of, us versus them. If they thought that we were freak, we can be freaks together, and everybody else would want to be freaks with us, but they can't sit at our table. Screw them. So I always seem to be very embracing of anything that shuns the larger mainstream, and clearly not everyone has autism, but I'm surely there's plenty of people who are neurodivergent that do not know that they're neurodivergent.
Yeah.
This alone pretty much gives me the inspiration to go on and embrace it. It's mainly the punk rock scene. Everyone there is someone who isn't, normal.
Mm-hmm.
They're all a couple of, outcasted kids who got together and started a little scene, a little community, and said, this is who we are. And everybody else kind of wants to look at me like this is who I should not be.
Right.
Even if this is something that it cannot be helped. Like, this is something you're born to be, based upon your environment, based upon your disability, based upon this, based upon that. Like, this is you for life, and people want you to hate that.
But you don't hate that.
Like, what even is the point? This is who you are. You better embrace. You better find something positive about it. And I have.
I think a lot of that mentality and that mindset comes through in your music, because it's a lot about drawing attention to differences in people, but embracing those differences. Can you talk about your songwriting and your musical inspirations?
I mean, I think there came a time where I kind of questioned. I asked the question once on wrongplanet.com if autism was a music genre, what would it be? I find that I have a major interest in like synth pop,
Mm-hmm.
psychedelic music, new wave of any sort.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that it's the music has to have a little bit of a complexity to it. Someone once said like gent or classical or like experimental music, experimental hip hop, that kind of stuff. So clearly, if you want to turn autism itself into a music genre, it would be something that just would not fit the mainstream.
Right.
Like, you will not see an autistic artist who wants to represent what autism is musically sitting next to, I don't know, Katy Perry on the charts.
Right.
You're if you really want to make music that definitely lets people know what it's like to have autism musically, and if you really want to get down to that, it's not very mainstream. It's something that can either be peaceful, euphoric, or it can go haywire. Sometimes there's two kinds. There's sensory seekers and there's sensory avoidance.
Okay.
I'm the seeker. I was the kid who, of course, listened to rock music, always loved riding a skateboard, I was that kind of kid. So I grew up the kid who was interested in, getting his thrills, his excitement. Just does not like to get bored, and that's something. That there is something. Someone who can learn a lot about themselves and who they are through this disability, and can be able to shape their lives, can be able to shape their tastes, can be able to really understand themselves through this. And I found out that, genres such as synth pop, anti folk, I forgot to mention anti folk, just anything where it seems like, the weirdos not only can thrive, but they can actually find community in these musical genres, in these,
I think part of what you are going to be singing for us today is mostly written by you. You are your own songwriter, right? I don't think you do much in terms of covers. So
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of covers. I'll attempt it, but it feels a little weird singing somebody else's words sometimes. But
so how do you get inspired with your songwriting?
Sometimes I just have to make sure that the portal is open. Go to the room and play it out. It usually starts with the lyrics or starts with the idea, because I never like to enter the studio. I never like to enter the room without having something to say.
Okay.
So it always starts first with the message, first with what I want to say, and then work out the music.
And you have a beautiful voice. When did you start singing? How old were you?
I was singing when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I was the music obsessive. I grew up looking at MTV, VH1, BET, Much Music, you name it. And, wound up singing songs to it, as you do. And Mom would always throw me into like choir practice or anywhere, encourage my singing. I put that away until I figured out that maybe, I had a little keyboard, I had a guitar, just go on and start learning how to sing. But it isn't until like maybe most recently where I kind of really learned how to sing, like really use the power of in their singing. You can't just like sing willy nilly, like sing from your throat, almost like really put your heart and soul into it to make it a little bit, to really make it real and to make it sound better.
You are also a big fan of poetry.
Yes.
Which we'll see. You're going to recite 2 poems that you've written today for us.
Oh, I did.
So, how did you get into poetry? And do you read a lot of poetry?
I got into poetry when I was in high school. I just needed somewhere to kind of get my thoughts down, just how to express it. Even if I wasn't as confident in high school about singing, because your voice starts changing and stuff. So I'm like, am I even good at singing anymore? As soon as I did that, I was like, even if I'm not, I still want it right.
Got it. Okay. So it's a good way to channel that musical creativity. And do you perform outside of Dorchfest?
Sometimes I perform live in certain venues. I want to do more performances.
Okay.
But that is up to anybody who might be looking for performers.
Great. Well, we can absolutely make sure that they see you, because we're going to get to hear from you today. So
yes,
we're very excited. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's her energy can light up the room. There is no end to what our love can do. Magical steps across the sky away. No more regrets. We take our time and fall out once or twice, but it's yours and mine for life. Magical steps across the sky away. No more regrets. We take our time and fall out once or twice, but it's yours and mine for life. For Hey y'all, I go by My Name is Blue Sky, one word, no cap. And don't forget the last E, please do not forget that. So usually when you see me, I'd always have, blue skin, some nice sky cerulean skin, right? So I've decided to leave the blue bubble and come over here to Tiny Dot Podcast, which means that I will be wearing my mask. We do live here on Earth after all. So this is a time where we can be able to recognize how much work has really gone into making sure that people can be able to live here and not be able to go through a whole lot of, madness. And it's also the day that I celebrate it is the 6th anniversary of a release called Autistic Black Pride with me and Philly rapper Savan DePaul, who are Black, LGBT, and autistic. So I will be, that was a song called Magical Steps that came off of My End, which is mostly keyboard bedroom pop. And I will be performing some more songs off of that and some songs off of other releases soon, and there will be some poetry. So I hope you do like poetry. I love it. And here's one of the songs from an old release. It is called Human Beyond Repair. I wrote it in 2014, which is supposed to be a concept album about what it's like to have autism. I viewed it from the point of view of someone who just came down to earth, is a whole different creature that nobody ever seems to really understand, and it's supposed to explain his point of view. This song isn't written from that point of view. It's written from the point of view of those who are usually the judgmental types. And it's called Anomaly Jones. Oh no, it's Anomaly Jones, and never quite right into the dome. He's not like you and me, well how could he be more normal if he only tried? What's going on, Anomaly Jones? How are things hanging at home? How's your mom and dad control that illness yet? Oh, it's not an illness, well, what is it then? What is it then? Go home, Anomaly Jones. You're not the type I want to know. Your freedom is a threat, something I just don't get. It'd be better if we knocked you down some. If we knocked you down some. Oh, if we knocked you down some. What's wrong, Anomaly Jones? You need to phone your home, Anomaly Jones. Oh. Thank you. And that is from a release called Human Beyond Repair. It was originally going to be a trilogy album, but I only ever made one. I am working on a grandiose project having to do with this because there is so many things to talk about in terms of what autism is, you know, how to deal with it, and everything that is around it. I have been working on a poetry album, and I did work on a poetry album, and I currently have a poetry book in the works. The book is named The Legend of Black Superman. It was based upon when I was a kid and used to want to be Superman. Almost every kid wanted to be Superman, you know, Spider-Man, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, you have never seen a black Superman. Hell, some of us who weren't really comic book nerds didn't even know Black Panther was a thing until the movie. So it's almost as if my mom was trying to teach me to really see that black people or blue people can be superheroes as well. But, you know, me, the kind of superhero I am, is a whole different situation. But before you even get to that status, you will have to go through the judgments. You will have to go through people looking at you like you're not a regular person. And I wrote this after feeling like you guys really have a thing for wanting to put down the different before you realize that it's always the different people. It's always the weirdos who winds up changing the world for the better. And this poem that I have in the book is called Freak Worship. Everyone wants to be the victim who emerged from out of his pain, years after being the one who drove the real victim insane. Everybody wants to be the standout after years of being in the box, convinced that's where you ought to stay, a popular paradox. Here we thought you worshiped freaks, but you only want his clothes to symbolize a freedom that you never got to know. Here we thought you knew yourself. Did you know others too? And how long was it since you arrived at the conclusion that they were just like you? Thank you. Okay. I have one more poem, then a freestyle. Every time I do a performance, I always freestyle songs. You know, that's my thing. And then one more song. In fact, I don't think I'm going to be needing this anymore. And it is going to be poetry. Autistic rock star. One of the things I've always wanted to write about is some of the things that I want to see. Okay, I want to see this, even if it means that I'm really going to have to step my game up and be that. And I would love to see someone who has autism really take it to the top. I don't want to see anyone who would ever have to hide what they are, hide their disability just to get there. That's one of the reasons as to why I've always wanted to start like a little punk scene called Spectrum Core. You know, anyone who has autism or anyone who's on the autism spectrum can come together and have their little scene in the same way that Riot Girl exists, Afro Punk exists, Queercore exists. we could really use it because this can be more than just music, but a way to try and educate the people in the things that we go through instead of letting those who are merely observants, have those reins. But autistic rock star. I want an autistic Lil Nas X. If not, then a David Bowie, maybe an Iggy Pop or a Joey Ramone. Hell, an HR from Bad Brains would not be a bad thing. I want an autistic rock star whose wild demeanor can be let out on stage. Somebody who can inspire those who were once like me to let loose. Those whose use of colors and musical vibes have always been a source of therapy, regulation, special interest. Use what you once couldn't control. Channel your everything. Channel your rage, channel your happiness, channel your sexy. Channel everything into an uncontainable package. Inspire others to just be free for all, to love themselves, to use themselves, to bring themselves out of a hole, or show them how to best do that. Books upon books have been written, but people don't like to read books. Some people don't, anyway, as much as they like to listen to music. With music comes an audiovisual experience, a moment, an idea, inspiration. If we can use anything at all, let it be this. Hopefully people over there are really taking that into consideration because there's so many things that we need in this world. Everything is gonna be alright. We're not giving our joy without a fight for love, for all of the above. For love, no need strife. Exist as we are for love, beauty, truth, and all that could be. Motivation for me and you. We are gonna be alright. We are gonna be alright. I just felt that in my soul, and I certainly hope that we do. No more danger, no more murder for sport. None of this. If anyone truly wants to say that they believe in God, they will believe that this is something that is not necessary, something that they can fight against. And those who are currently fighting the good fight, in little ways or in small ways, we are with you. And we love you. So it's a little unfortunate that I also have to perform this song off of the thing, and it's called Patiently Awaiting. It's all about the feeling that we are constantly going to just wait for better to come, after more slides of regression happens. Unfortunately, some things can't be ignored. As much as we would love to surround ourselves with a thing to make sure that we stay sane as we stay informed, you know, it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always go away. So here's a little song. I wish I had the luxury to not believe in gravity, but so has become our fate, while we patiently await our apocalypse within the metropolis in our minds. Here we stand barely bold on soil that's been bought and sold. Bald fist by our side, with arrogance that we call pride, our undoing, our apocalypse within the metropolis in our lives. Our apocalypse within the metropolis in our minds, in our life, within our minds, minds. Live from Tiny Dot. My name is Blue Sky. Thank you so much for having me. Take care.